From Friday night lights to Saturday fights, down in the South where the gumbo's hot, we talk ball, grit, and give it all we got. Louisiana pride, Georgia dreams, Southern sports gumbo, live the team. Who dat? Who's next? Tune in, let's go. It's Southern Sports Gumbo. Down in the South where the gumbo's hot, we talk ball, grit, and give it all we got. Louisiana pride, Georgia dreams, Southern sports gumbo, live the team. Who dat? Who's next? Tune in, let's go. It's Southern Sports Gumbo. It's Southern Sports Gumbo. Tune in, let's go. It's Southern Sports Gumbo. It's Southern Sports Gumbo. It's Southern Sports Gumbo.
All right, guys, we are live here on YouTube tonight to talk some SEC and college football recap for week 2. Kevin, you want to get us started with your thoughts on the day?
Yeah, week two's come and gone. A lot of people were talking about there weren't a lot of great matchups today, but really when you look back at the day, kind of like we said in the previews, we had some really good rivalry games in the early games today, and I thought really today was a really good day of football. You had Iowa State, and Iowa came down to late fourth quarter field goal by Iowa State in the game that could have gone either way. Great game to watch. Along the same time of that, Baylor and SMU, and a game like we talked about that Baylor really needed to win. They were down 14 in the fourth quarter, came back and pushed the game into overtime. SMU misses a field goal. Baylor hits theirs in the second OT. Baylor gets out with a win in a game that they needed to. But again, a really fun, good game to watch. And then Mississippi State closes late with a win over Arizona State. Big day for the SEC. All their matchups with other conferences they won today, with the exception of Florida and South Florida, which your favorite non-Power 4 conference team is UNLV, and they won again tonight. But South Florida is another those non-Power 4s that's right there pushing for that playoff spot. I would say right now those are the two early teams in that contest. So big day for the SEC, and to me a big day for the rivalry games. I didn't mention Missouri and Kansas, but again, another really fun game to watch that went back and forth. Missouri kind of held the lead most of the second half after Kansas jumped out early in the first half. And Missouri was able to pull out that win, which again was another big win for the SEC in a rivalry where there's a lot of hatred. So that's kind of my initial thoughts on the day. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it all started early this morning with the Iowa State game for me. Kind of like we predicted earlier in the week, low scoring game, real defensive battle for most of it, with Iowa State coming out on top. So solid showing for them. The two games that stuck out the most to me is USF upsetting Florida. I'm going to use a Billy Napier quote here: "Scared money don't make money," and definitely didn't make him any more money today. USF really came out and played tough all game and really, stepped up when they needed to. And then to end the night tonight, my UNLV guys got it done. Quick shout out to Amarius Brown. He said he's not scared of Nico earlier in the week, and Nico had a better game than I predicted. I predicted 165 yards from him. He threw for 255, but at the end of the day, the Rebels got it done. So they're 3-0, and you don't want to call it a two-horse race this early necessarily for that group of 5 playoff team, but I think USF and UNLV are your top 2 dogs there. So yeah, I mean, kind of an up and down day for the SEC. Yeah, you had Tennessee score a ton of points on East Tennessee State. Vandy with a huge second half, 34 points in the second half to beat Virginia Tech by 24. Mississippi State, kind of controlled the game for really over 3 quarters, got down at the end, and had a touchdown late. So I know I made a call to Blake Shapen to either step up or sit down going into this week, and he definitely stepped up in a big way for his Bulldogs this week. So yeah, just kind of a lot of good games I didn't necessarily think were going to be good games, and then we could roll over into the LSU game and talk a little offense, but start with the bright point of the defense. Only giving up 7 touchdowns on a late touchdown score when our starters were out. What did you think of the LSU offense today?
Obviously they were very inconsistent. I just think, we've talked about it. I think we tried to do too much. I think we came into the game, we wanted to push the ball down the field, and it seemed like we just kept trying to focus on throwing the ball 20 yards down the field, 15 yards, 20 yards, throwing it over the top. And we tried to spread the ball around to a lot of players on the as far as our wide receivers and stuff. I thought last week we had an absolute semblance of a game plan. We tried to run the ball early. Johnson played along with Durham. There was a semblance to what we were trying to do in the running game. In the passing game, we went to Anderson and Brown. And we went to those 2 guys again tonight when we needed them. But we set ourselves up for a lot of 3rd and longs tonight. And we were kind of back in that pass on first down, don't complete it. So we run on 2nd and 10 to try to set up something that's 3rd and manageable. And that was not, just a lot like last year, just not very effective. And so we ended up with a lot of 3rd and longs. A couple times Nuss held the ball too long. I just think we gotta determine, a game plan and stick, and run a game plan to what that defense does and really kind of hone in to what our best players are going to be. And I think we'll probably see that, over the next couple of weeks. We probably won't play as many. We'll play as many wide receivers, but we won't probably throw to as many wide receivers. Obviously, some are going to play because they're better, blockers. It's when in the running game or in the short passing game. So we'll still play as many, but I think we'll see more of a semblance of what we're going to try to do. But yeah, it was really sloppy. Execution wasn't good. Ken, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, 2 big question marks. Braylon Moore went down early with an ankle injury, and then Trey'Dez Green went down as well. So those are 2 players LSU is going to need to be successful, especially Braylon Moore at center. He was the SEC Offensive Line Player of the Week in Week 1 against Clemson. That's going to be a huge blow to the offensive line if he's not ready to go next week. Even though Florida lost today to South Florida, still a really talented team. A lot of talent on the defensive side of the field. So we're really going to need to have the LSU offensive line at full force for that game. Um, a couple of the bright spots. I was glad to see Nick Anderson catch a touchdown pass today. He's looks like he's kind of shaking some of the rust off at this point now, and hopefully he's ready to be full go moving forward. Xavier Thomas, you know, is a good gadget piece for the LSU offense. Yeah, a lot of the same as you. We tried to push it down the field too much, especially the first drive of the game. When you've got an in-state team coming to town, they're always playing at another level. So the last thing you want to do is throw an interception to start the game on the first drive. So I think that got us out of our rhythm and our plan a little bit, but I think we need to look at, Barry Brown, Aaron Anderson, Xavier Thomas, quick short passes, and let the playmakers make plays. Almost uncomplicate this offense. We don't need to ever throw the ball into double and triple coverage down the field. We've got enough speed to where if we just get it to them and let them make plays at that point. So, as frustrated as many LSU fans are with the offense, I think everybody could agree that the defense was really good tonight.
Defense
What did you think of the defense tonight?
defense is really good. They play fast. Secondary is the best we've had in probably 10 years. Well, Stingley and Fulton, since that group, so I guess 2019 when they played together. From a secondary standpoint, linebackers were really good again tonight. Whit Weeks was really good, and then Perkins also. To me, those guys are both very disruptive. A lot of pass plays that Tech ran, when they checked down and threw the ball to running backs, Weeks and Perkins are right there to make the tackle and very aggressive. The defense is going to be fun to watch all year. That they were solid there. There's no doubt. We should have been a shutout. It just should have been. Stamp should have intercepted the pass. Should have been a shutout.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. I want to shout out West Weeks tonight. He was the leading tackler with 10 tackles, 4 solo tackles, half a sack, and 1 tackle for loss. When he came in a couple years ago, I know last year he was banged up, so didn't play much. I've been really impressed with how West has been playing this year. And I mean, I'm sure it's an awesome feeling to be playing with your little brother Whit, and would have been nice to see all 3 Weeks brothers on the field at the same time tonight.
Kelly mentioned at some point in the year it would be nice to get them all in the same, field at the same time. West, he's played well. He's been solid. Our defense has played very fast. I mean, everybody knows their assignments. Again, the secondary knows their assignments. The defensive line has played well, and that's allowed the linebackers to really run to the ball, read their keys, and make plays. So I'm excited about watching the defense. Again, they've been really good. And going back to, you mentioned on offense, and I agree. Let's play with Thomas, Anderson, Brown, maybe mix in Nick Anderson some. I think Bauer Sharp can be a definite possession guy at tight end. Let's make that a focus and do what those guys do best and take what the defense gives us, and let's go play.
Yeah, and I want to see Juwan Johnson utilized like he was last week against Clemson a little more.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Shout out to him, the long run by Xavier Thomas, that block that he made to set the edge there for him to get around. If he doesn't make that block, you're talking 3 or 4 yard gain. Instead, it's a 48-yard gain. So shout out to him playing really tough. And, hopefully we see a little more from him this year.
Yeah, I thought he absolutely was a factor last week in our offense. He did two things well. He caught the ball obviously, and he's very athletic. And he after yards after catch, he's very capable of getting yards after the catch. But he was also pretty physical last week when he ran the ball. And I think he's your second back with Barry pushing for some carries. And I'm perfectly, if Harlem Barry gets more and more run as the year goes along, I'm fine. But yeah, I think we should see Durham and Johnson. And I was disappointed in that we didn't see Johnson really as that second back tonight because I thought he looked really effective in that role last week. And he picked up, you mentioned his blocking. Last week he was good at picking up blocks, in the passing game. So I think he's a really good option when you get him to third downs. So I definitely think he needs to be a part of it. And again, I think that's, where hopefully we simplify the offense to the things that we do well.
Yeah, I agree. So before we wrap up, we'll be going live on Tuesday at 6:30 Central Time. So just to give you guys a taste of what we'll be discussing then, you've got Georgia traveling to Tennessee. You've got Arkansas and Ole Miss playing. You've got Florida traveling to LSU. You've got Texas A&M traveling to South Bend to face off with Notre Dame. And you've got Vanderbilt traveling to South Carolina for a undefeated showdown early in the year for both of those teams. So we'll have some really good previews coming Tuesday night. So make sure you tune in and listen to us give our thoughts on week 3 games. Thanks for